I remember telling her that I did not want to die. I had too much to live for. I have a child to raise. I did not want to go yet. It was not my time. I remember feeling that fear. Like, I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I knew that I was in a lot of pain. I knew I had multiple broken bones. I didn't know the severity of my internal injuries yet, but I knew that they were there. So my main concern was living.
Yeah.
And getting out of there.
Hey!
And we're live.
And we're
No,
live.
we usually do this. So, hey, welcome to the 10-8 podcast. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I think we're over 300 now.
What? Wow.
We joke about 19, but somewhere in the mix we upped those numbers, probably when we started saying like and subscribe,
I
right?
would say so, sir.
So today we've got Officer Tiffany Woods from the Pine Bluff Police Department. We're going to talk about mental toughness, wellness today, talk about a critical incident that you went through. But let's sit here and kind of let you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, what brought you into law enforcement, and kind of give us your story.
My name is Tiffany Wood. I work for Pine Bluff Police Department. I was hired January of 2022. I began my journey with Arkansas Department of Corrections as a correctional officer. From there, I realized that I like going after the action.
Okay.
They would call all availables, and that's where I wanted to be.
All right, so which units did you work at?
I worked at Tucker Max,
Wow.
one of the big ones.
Wow.
That's big stuff.
Wow.
How many years did you work there?
I worked there from 2018 to 2021.
Okay.
So did you choose Tucker Max or Tucker Max choose you?
They chose me.
Wow.
I applied to 2 or 3 units just trying to get in, and Tucker Max called me first. And then after I already applied there and got in and was there for about a year, another unit finally called me and was like, hey, do you want to come to our unit? It's like, I'm already in the prison.
Right.
I already work here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
And so after spending, you said 18 to 21, you applied with the Pine Bluff Police Department?
I first originally tried with Little Rock Police Department.
Okay.
I was living in Little Rock at the time. I explained that I did have a domestic situation where I was the victim, but per law, there's some complications. Per department policies, I was denied. Then I applied to Pine Bluff, and I had the same situation. I was like, I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. I want to be a cop. I deserve to be a cop. I don't deserve what happened to me to hinder me. I do understand the importance of really thoroughly investigating domestics because not all officers should be here if they do have past history. However, I was a victim, not the suspect. So I kept pushing, and I finally made it through. I convinced them that I deserved to be a police officer.
Good for you.
Perseverance,
Yep,
determination.
that's what I'm hearing. Resiliency. I'm hearing all the stuff.
Kind of that warrior mindset.
Yeah,
warrior.
yeah.
It's interesting because we haven't even talked about your story yet, but you have been setting yourself up for that mindset, that warrior mindset that I'll never get up early on in your career. I mean, that's impressive.
So what really drew you into the profession, though? I mean, was it just looking for a career? Did you have a passion to serve? I mean, what's your why? We talk about that a lot. The
My why has a variety of directions. My most important why was to be on the front lines to fight domestic battles. I wanted to be there for other women. I wanted to say, hey, this is not where you belong. You have a fight. You have people here that are for you. This is not where you should stay. I wanted to be there firsthand to protect who I could, to convince who I could to get out. I lost a friend to domestic violence. I was a victim of it myself. So that was my first why. My other one was the action. I wanted to be able to drive cars fast. I wanted to be able to respond to action. I hate the situation for others, but responding to shootings, kind of, it's a spot.
Wow. So right now, there are chiefs around the state that are going, "What's our number?"
Well, hopefully that's ASP.
Oh, did we just say that out loud?
Wow.
This is not a recruiting video for the Arkansas State.
The Arkansas Division of Law Enforcement Standards Training does not endorse one agency over another.
That's right. That's right. Wow.
So previous, anybody in the family in the profession?
My uncle is a cop.
Where at?
Was a cop. Still technically is a cop with me.
Oh, in Pine
Police
Bluff?
Department.
All right, so a little bit of heritage and
Yes.
and a little
He's the
drive.
one who encouraged my journey.
That's awesome.
That's good.
That's good.
So would you say your uncle's like a coach, a mentor, someone you've looked up to and kind of guided you through the process?
He's inspired me. He's given me
Okay.
direction. We've more have had that friend
I'm with you.
role. He's always picking on me and bugging me, and he's encouraged me to go after bigger roles.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
He saw potential in me that my family didn't know was there, so I had to prove them wrong. And then every day I'm proving them that I can do more and more.
Let me ask
And
you this question.
I surprise them on a regular basis.
You talked about proving your family wrong.
Yes.
Through the journey that you've gone through so far, have you proven yourself that you
Yes.
have more than? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
We'll get into the discussion of my wreck, but even through that, I surprised myself. Because as I was
Wow.
laying in the bed after my wreck, I didn't know I was going to be right back here.
All right.
I didn't know that I was going to have a new goal. But here I am.
You know, you're in really good company because when I look at the people that I respect the most, a lot of them have a lot of scars, whether it's physical scars, emotional, etc., spiritual. I think that whole wellness component, when we look at someone, a lot of times the challenges they've gone through, if they've overcome them, make them.
Yes.
And it sounds like you were just one of those people, which is pretty amazing.
Well, we asked about the question about mentorship. So as a female officer, have you seen any struggles coming up through the ranks, or did you have a mentor that kind of guided you along the way?
You want to know something surprising?
Yeah.
So when I worked for the prison, being a woman was difficult. It was a hard job, hard role. Everyone pushed you, tested you. You didn't have it as easy as the guys at the prison. But now that I work for the police department as a cop, it's actually encouraged.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They seek the women.
Yeah, no, we love to
because
hear that.
We're typically calmer. We have better de-escalation skills. We work great with children. We bring comfort to victims. So it tends to be actually wanted in the prison or the police department. And that surprised me because I thought I was going to have to fight like I did at the prison, but it's been a
Been different.
easy role.
That's really great to hear, though.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
so
And
great
then
to hear that you have
the
that
guys
culture.
have my back,
Yeah.
so I know that I'm always taken care of. I know that I have the skills to take care of myself, so I don't fear that. And then children, they'd be like, "It's a woman.
Yeah.
She's a cop." I'm like, "Yes, and you can be too."
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
That's cool.
it's interesting because I remember several months ago we had Chief Richardson here
Yes.
talking, and if I remember correctly, that she said females at the Pine Bluff Police Department was around 26%, and I might be
it
getting
was
those numbers.
Twice the state
Yes,
average. or
that's
better.
where I
Yeah.
wanted you to go with it. Is the national average? It sounds like your agency is very supportive of
Yes.
having females to serve in that capacity.
Yes, they are very enthusiastic of it. They had a challenge of 30% by 2030. I think we are still working on that goal. It was an honor to see a woman as a chief,
Sure.
and now we have a woman as an interim chief, and it's exciting to see. And
So what rookie class did you go through? What academy class?
2022A.
Do you remember how many female officers you had in that class and how big your class was?
It was a big class. We had over 100
Yeah.
officers. It was a good 30
Wow.
females.
And that's good.
Wow, that's
Well,
right.
I'm
I
glad
mean,
you
it was a
did.
good
30%.
ratio.
Yeah, we had a graduating class last week. And,
Yeah,
and
Northwest, big female
Love to see
representation.
that.
Yes,
Love
sir.
to see that across the
Absolutely.
state.
Absolutely.
3 of us went to the academy from our department, and 2 were females.
That's great.
It was me and another female, and all 3 of us are still here.
That's great.
We're still there.
Yes, all 3 of us are still
Who
here.
are the other 2 that come through with you?
Thunderberg and Yancey.
Okay. All right.
That's awesome. We'll talk about the incident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Talk about that.
let's go back to what, October of 23, right?
Yes.
And so you kind of set this up for us, patrol shift, correct?
Yes. I
So
was on
just-
duty.
Kind of just walk us through what happened.
I was dispatched early in the morning, around 5, a little before 5, or a little after 5. A little after 5. Because I remember thinking, where's the on duty ones that are supposed to be there?
Shift change at 6, right?
No. We were dispatched to a fight in progress at a nightclub. And our nightclubs are manned. So that was the thought, like, where's the on duty ones? But apparently they leave right at closing. But some lingerers
Yeah.
started fighting in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yep.
And so we were dispatched out there. I got right in front of the nightclub, and someone shot out the parking lot in their vehicle, recklessly driving. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, which one's more important? That one that's recklessly driving, or do I go to this fight? Fight may be over. Before my decision was made for me, we made impact. Hit me head on.
Wow.
Head on. So I've seen the pictures of the car. Obviously, you were pinned in the car. Were you
They
pinned?
had to extract my door to get me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff that was between us that's in the units, the computer and stuff, made it difficult to remove me from the other side. It was also a safety concern because I possibly had a spinal fracture. I had multiple fractures, so and then my heart rate was dropped pretty quickly because I had an injury to my aorta and my lungs. So they had to force the door open. It was stuck. So all that machinery, I don't remember none of it. I was told about it
I was gonna say
later.
how much you actually remember of that?
I remember to the point of impact.
Yeah.
I remember the headlights coming at me, and that lingers with me to this day, driving at night.
Yeah.
I remember waking up. I remember getting on the radio. I remember, be calm. Be calm. I know you're in pain. Be calm. Because I like that, okay, even though they're in a crisis, I like that calm mindset. So I got on the radio. I let them know where I was, that I had been in a serious accident, that I needed first responders and EMS. That I went out again. I was in and out of consciousness quite a bit. I remember my supervisor, Sergeant Washington, getting on scene, getting in the vehicle with me, holding my hand, telling me that I was going to be okay. So I
What an
respect her
encouragement. Yeah.
tremendously.
What an encouragement.
I remember telling her that I did not want to die. I had too much to live for. I have a child to raise. I did not want to go yet. It was not my time. I remember feeling that fear. Like I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I knew that I was in a lot of pain. I knew I had multiple broken bones. I didn't know the severity of my internal injuries yet, but I knew that they were there. So my main concern was living
Yeah.
and getting out of there.
Right.
And then I remember getting to the hospital. Actually, I remember getting pulled out of the unit because I wanted them to splint my knee because I knew it was broken. I knew my femur was broken. Life over limb, though, so they had to get me out as quickly as possible. So they could not take that time to splint it, and I was in tremendous pain when that knee started moving.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, that hurt. So I remember that part. But once I got still on the gurney and they gave me medications to numb the pain, and I was out again.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part, was sleeping.
Yeah. When they hit you with the good stuff.
Being out, I think that was my favorite
Yeah,
part.
high level of pain to nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a scale of
Yes.
1 to 10, a million is where you are.
So do you know how long it took them to get you out?
I
You ever
was
look back on that?
told that the accident happened around 5:15, 5:20, somewhere from there. No later than 5:30. And then I was out and headed to the hospital around 6:15.
Yeah, so think
So
about that.
roughly
So
an hour.
we've done several of these debriefs now, and a lot of these debriefs are officer-involved shootings, and they're over in a matter of seconds, less than a minute or two. You were in that critical incident for 45 minutes, pinned in
Yes.
that car, and you were talking about, I don't want to die, having the will. You stayed calm.
Yes.
You used your training, but you focused on why you needed to be here,
Yeah.
your kids,
That
I think
is
that's
so important.
I think it's really important to just talk about the why and what drives
You bet.
us. Because I think, to me, when you said that, if I was in the same position, what would drive me to stay focused, to stay calm, to fight through that situation? And it's not like a 10-second gun battle. Like I said, you were in there for 45 minutes. And so I think that's really important that we talk about
Well,
that.
I think it goes back to her warrior mentality, and I use that term because I believe you are a warrior. You knew you'd like to hear a calm voice on the radio in a critical situation. That you took a minute, maybe you did or didn't, to take a deep breath and going, I need to calm down for just a second so I can get the resources. That's impressive, ma'am. There's a lot out there who probably would have got on that radio and you wouldn't have understood
Yeah.
a word. So
I've heard
kudos. Kudos
I've
to you
heard
for having that.
and I mean, I've had that adrenaline where
Sure.
I got it over the radio and I was probably yelling.
Yeah.
I've heard others come across and it's just chaos and you don't know what's going on.
Sure.
And we call for all available to them.
Yeah.
Woods, how long had you been a police officer at that time?
At that time, it was 2023, October, roughly a year and a half.
Year and a
We were
half.
in 10
Okay.
months.
What in your life, whether it was in your training as a police officer, that built that level of calm that you have within you?
Everything that I've been through, from being bullied in elementary schools to having calm parents, to the training that I received through Arkansas Department of Corrections, through the training that I received through Alita for the police academy.
So the
That's the
various different
mindset
places.
that I wanted.
Yeah.
When Sergeant Washington crawled in the car with you, you're alone, you're pinned in the car. How much did that help? Her being there with you.
It brought me more calmness. It brought me reassurance that I was getting help.
Yeah.
It let me know that I was heard. It let me know that they care.
Yeah.
To know that your fellow officers have your back, that is so important.
I mean, because she physically crawled into the car with you, didn't she?
She sat beside me in the car and held my hand.
Talk about
I
a
knew
guardian
that
angel.
others were there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I knew
That's awesome.
my other supervisor at the time was on scene as well because I had her call my mom. The first thing I wanted was my family to know
Sure.
that I was still alive, but I needed them.
Yeah.
And they were on their way. My mom got that call. She started calling everybody else. So I knew that my village was coming, and my village was there.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Well, talk us through. All right, so we're past the initial incident.
Yes.
Now you're in the hospital. They get you stabilized. Let's talk about the journey.
Well, hang on. Do you remember any of the journey to the hospital?
Good point,
no.
sir.
No, exactly
not
right.
in the
yeah.
ambulance.
Yeah.
So after that,
yeah.
I remember being at the hospitals. I don't remember
No.
the
how you
ambulance
got-
ride.
right,
No, I was asleep.
right.
Whenever I was at JRMC, I had so many police officers from my department in Jefferson County show up, and they're like, hey, we're here. We got you. We know you're in pain. We're here. Whatever you need, whatever your family needs, we are here. I don't know who all came, how many came. My mom said I had people in and out before I was shipped off to UAMS. And then even while I was at UAMS, I do remember there I had so many coming in and out, visiting, and let me know that
What-
I was in their prayers.
It goes back to that tribe, and we talk about this a lot. There's not another profession in the world that will do that, that will come see someone when they're injured at the hospital. I mean, once again, you're in Jefferson County, so yes, you have Pine Bluff Police Department, Jefferson County, Whitehall, whoever showed up. But then you come to Little Rock, and here they come again.
Well, you had an escort.
Yes.
You had an escort
Yes.
from Jefferson County to UAMS, didn't you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that
She does
one.
not recall.
I did, however, have an escort home.
Yeah.
I had an escort home, and that was most of the time. Escorts happen when the officer has fallen,
Yeah.
Right.
when they are no longer able to witness that.
Yeah.
I got to witness
Yeah,
it
that's
being
cool.
alive. I thought that was the
Pretty
most
cool.
awesome thing because it was so beautiful to see. Because I was filming and I did have medication, so I was a
Yeah.
little on the easy side, and I had live camera going the whole ride home, and I'm like, oh, there's another cop. Oh, there's another one. Just trying to look out the little small windows of the
Yeah.
ambulance because I had an ambulance escort home because
Yeah.
my injuries and the anxiety. My mom's an EMT, so she had her hookups. So, but I just I was like, hey, that's Little Rock. Oh, that's a state trooper. That's Jefferson County. Oh, that's Redfield. Hey, firefighters too. Because I'm a volunteer
You
firefighter.
You felt important, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
It
So
was awesome.
let's go back to the hospital. How many surgeries? What all did that?
I only went through one surgery,
Well, that's
thankfully.
good. Yeah.
Thankfully, I only went through one. They were discussing two. I did have a tear in my aorta, and if you know biology,
Yeah.
your
that's a
physical
thing.
makeup, your aorta holds a lot of blood, and a severe injury can be death. So, thankfully, mine was minor. Serious enough to cause conflict, but minor enough that I lived. So they explained it like a major bruising,
Yeah.
possible right on the edge of tearing. Thankfully, it did not, but they were considering having to go in to repair that.
How many
They
broken
were waiting
bones?
on scans to be confirmed of whether I needed that surgery or not. I was actually in the room waiting for surgery
Yeah.
for them to get that last scan so that if they did need to do it, they were able to get on it.
Right.
And then I ended up back in my bedroom. I'm like, I don't have any more cuts or
Yeah.
scars. Like, did they not do surgery? And they were like, no, we didn't do surgery.
That's good.
So
God
it
was
was only
there.
one surgery on my knee and my femur. They had to put a rod in.
Yeah.
I had over 10 broken bones, including knee, femur, and ribs.
Okay.
Wow.
And then I had multiple lacerations. I had a tear in my lung, tear in my aorta, so 2 organ injuries. And I had a soft tissue injury in my hand
Wow.
How long were you in the hospital?
for 6 days.
6 days. That's not bad considering the injuries.
Correct.
All the injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They made it, they rushed me. Probably what I needed.
Yeah.
But it was rushed. I was up and on my feet within a few days, being in the hospital, trying to do physical therapy and stuff, and boy, that hurt.
Yeah.
And it gave me anxiety just being up out of bed. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do nothing.
Right.
Didn't want to put weight on that leg. They were like, oh, yeah, you can already put weight on it. I'm like, they didn't let me put weight on my ankle. I couldn't put weight on my ankle for months. And then whenever I finally could, I had to be in a boot for it. And they're just like, get up. Come on, get up. I'm like,
So from the
No.
time you were released from UAMS and you got home, how quickly did your physical therapy start?
a month.
About a month. Okay.
About- yeah, I do believe about a month after I got
And
home.
you knew it was coming.
Yes.
You knew you were going to have to do it. Take us through that mindset as you prepared yourself. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
what was
talked
your drive?
Yeah. So you talk about that concern, not fear, but a concern of, hey, get up and start walking on it. How was your mindset? How did you prepare yourself going, I've got to get ready for this?
Saying that,
Okay.
I got to get ready. I knew I had to get up and walk. I knew I had to be moving around. Once I started feeling better, movement was easier. It was more tolerable. Within a few weeks, I was up cooking myself food in the kitchen. At my son's birthday party, which was like 2 weeks later,
Wow.
I was in the kitchen sweeping while in the wheelchair. So I was making movement happen already. But I was determined to get back
Did
to
you
my
think
role.
at this point that your career was over, or you had a determination to get back?
While I was in the hospital, I did have that fear. I was thinking, am I going to be able to? I knew I had severe injuries. I didn't know how extent that they were going to be. My knee was pretty bad, so I did not know if I was going to recover from that. I didn't know how painful my body was going to be through the years. But I was determined to try anyways.
Right.
I wanted to get back to being a police officer. I wanted to get back to the streets. So the least I could do was try. I knew that if I kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing, that hopefully at some point I would be able to move my joints and get strength back in my leg. And
So I know you came back to light duty before you went back to full
Yes.
duty, right? So from the point or from the time frame of the accident to the return to light duty, how long was that?
a month.
A month.
Wow.
That's quick.
Yeah, I started light duty and
Wow.
physical therapy pretty much the same week.
Okay. So how was your support system during that month? Everybody checking on you? Did you have?
My mom took off work and she took care of me for as long as she could. I stayed at my sister's house so that she was the one caretaking whenever my mom wasn't there. We had friends and family reach out and they said, hey, if you need anything, we are there. We had friends helping with childcare, family helping with it. I was still I was doing more for myself, but not quite 100%
Yeah.
alone on my own. So we had a family friend come and sit with me just to be there, just to make sure if
Yeah.
I had a point where I needed somebody, somebody was with me because nobody could stay home that day. So I had a lot of support. I had a lot of text messages, a lot of phone calls. Departments were reaching out to me. My department made sure that I was taken care of. My son's birthday was shortly after, like a week after my accident. So my department came through and they got him gifts and
Oh, that's
showed
wow.
up in the police cars with lights. And when they pulled up, we had Chevy outside and he's like, why are the blue lights on? Why are they doing this? Why? I was like, it's your birthday. It's to celebrate you. And he's like,
That's pretty cool.
I don't want the lights. I was like, okay, well,
And
I
this is
thought it
the
was
same
cool,
day you're
but
sweeping
okay.
in the wheelchair, right?
No, not that
Okay.
day.
All
They
right.
actually came out to where I was staying,
That's
and then
awesome.
shortly after we went and had a party. So
So you had, at that time, you had how many children?
I only have one child.
One child. And how old were they when this accident took place?
He was 7.
7. How did he deal with it?
It was rough for him.
I get it. Scary.
Very scary, very rough, a bit traumatizing.
Sure.
He didn't know if Mama was going to make it. He cried. He was so focused about me and my well-being. It was hard to distract him, but family and friends did the best that they could. I think he's probably received the most gifts he's ever received in that time frame because
Yeah.
people brought toys to him at the hospital. So
Did he struggle with you going back to work?
Yeah.
he still kind of has concerns
Yeah.
Yeah.
it.
with it.
Sure.
So he didn't really vocalize being concerned of me going back to work. I'm sure he probably had some concerns about it. But
Yeah.
like I explained to him, I love what I do. I want to be there. I will do everything I can to stay safe the best that I can. I'm always watching my surroundings, watching what I do, being cautious, being slow instead of rushing through and
Yeah.
just doing. So I tell him that I take those precautions.
Yeah.
So
Encourage him,
Yes.
reassure him.
he,
So you got back to light duty very quickly. I mean, a month.
Yes.
That's
That's
really
that's
quick.
that's
That's amazing.
impressive, and it's a great indication of your department and how they handled it too. A lot of times, we need to get back to work. People don't understand that. The longer we're away from it, the more withdrawn we might feel. So the fact that you get back to work, you're probably excited about that.
I was nervous.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
know what to expect.
Need to be
for
around
light
your
duty,
tribe.
But it wasn't a bad thing to get back. I wasn't quite ready to go, but the push is probably what kept me going.
Yeah, that's good. So how long on light duty?
8 months. on light duty
Yeah,
itself.
okay.
So
Full rehab.
from
Still doing rehab,
So
right?
yes,
Physical
I was
rehab.
doing physical therapy the whole time. I had went to over 90 sessions of physical therapy. I was determined. I wanted it. I was there. I was pushing. It was 2 to 3 hours each time.
Wow.
All knee work, leg
I
work,
get it.
getting back balance and strength, and
Did doubt ever creep in?
multiple times.
Yeah. How do you
Multiple
overcome that? Or how did you overcome it?
Mindset. It's having that want to do it. It's having patience, listening to your body. It's want.
Well, you know
That
what?
is the biggest thing.
So one of the things we talk
you
about
have
all
to want progression. You have to want growth. If you don't want it, it's not coming.
we talk about this being a calling. And so if it's not a calling, you give up and find
Give it
another
up.
job,
Yes.
right?
Give it up. Yeah.
And so this is your calling, correct?
I do
mean,
believe
this is,
so,
This is
'cause
what you were called to do.
It's hard to think of going to something else. I've
Yeah,
considered
so-
it, and I'm like, oh, maybe as a parent, maybe I need something a little bit more laid back and easy and not so life-threatening. But
Yeah, or 4
At the
months
same
into
time,
a
you
rehab,
could be
8-month
driving a
rehab
car and-
session, I'm thinking this is hard. Let me go find
bet.
something easier. I think your determination. I think that's a true example of this being a calling and not just a job.
Yeah.
yes,
Because the
Quit.
calling aspect of
you
it
have to want
You
it.
bet.
Yeah.
You have to desire.
drives us through.
It's something within me
Mm-hmm.
that need to be here, that need to help others, that need. It's not for everyone. Not everyone should be doing it. It takes passion, compassion, empathy, sympathy, drive. It requires all of it. You can't show up and not give it your best.
I have a question. So a couple there. So you're gonna have to answer this as you process through it. But we talked about the physical aspect. So you're pushing through that.
Yes.
Now you've had trauma, emotional trauma, mental trauma, spiritual trauma. I'm assuming. So you've got all this trauma. So you're working on your body, but what are you doing for your mind, your spirit, your emotions? What did that healing process look like?
Spirit is still work in progress.
Okay.
That one was actually damaged in a bad marriage.
Okay.
So that one has been a work in progress for a long time. The wreck wasn't the hitting point on that one.
Gotcha.
I'm told all the time it's God's miracle. And I'm like, okay. I'm not going to deny that maybe he had his hand in it.
Yeah.
I'm still
Processing through that.
processing my own emotions about it.
Okay.
Mentally, it's a push. Your life flashing before your eyes is scary.
Yeah.
So you got to want to live.
Yeah.
If you don't want to live, that fight's going to be tough. It's going to be exhausting. But having that want makes it easier, makes it more possible.
Well, the profession puts a stigma, or in the past, a stigma has been put on us trying to help that side of the house, right? The emotional, the mental side of it. Obviously you're physically rehabbing, but it's just as important that we do the rehab mentally and
Yes.
Correct.
emotionally as
I
well.
did seek therapy.
Perfect.
good for
Yes.
you.
Yeah, good for
I
you.
Good
went
for
through
you.
therapy
Walk through
immediately.
that. Immediately.
Yes.
Like how quick?
The week after I got home, I started talking to someone on the phone, going through therapy
So you were doing that
sessions.
before you were doing your physical
Yes.
therapy.
Wow.
Now, who
Yes.
recommended
I knew in
that
the
to you?
hospital that I wanted to do therapy.
Oh,
Did somebody
really?
push you to
Yes.
do that, or did you end up on that on your
I
own?
made that decision, but my mom encouraged it.
Great,
And then the department encouraged it.
great.
How helpful has that been?
It was helpful. Like he says, I've already had that warrior mindset, so I was going to get through it, but going through that, validating my feelings was so important. Validating how I felt, that fear, that trauma, that is so important to hear someone say that your feelings are reasonable. Because up to that point, there's times where I was like, should I feel this way? And so to hear someone say, yes,
Yeah.
it's fine to feel that way.
Yeah, and we want all 19 of our listeners to hear that you chose to do that, right?
Yes.
You weren't
It's
forced
so
to do it.
important to
Absolutely.
take care of mentality.
Absolutely.
This job is going to get you.
Yes.
You're going to see things, you're going to hear things, you're going to go through things. Protecting your mentality is so important. Therapy, it's highly recommended from me, and I hope it's highly recommended from departments and others.
Hey,
and
she
it's
figured that out in her first 5 years. I went 26 years. You
I'm
went.
also a girl.
Yeah,
Guys
well,
kind of tend to be a
come
little bit more
on.
stubborn.
We relate it. You have to prepare yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally every single day. It's putting on the armor, that armor of God, so
Yes.
to speak. And there's time and place your armor is damaged. And that doesn't mean you're out of the fight. That doesn't mean that I'm done with the battle. It means I need to go repair said armor to make it even
Yes.
stronger. You remind me of, she reminds me greatly of Heraclitus. Out of every 100, I don't know if you've heard it, out of every 100, 80 shouldn't be there, 10 are nothing but targets. There's 10 that's left. 9 of them are warriors and they make the battle. But one is the warrior and he will bring the others back. And ma'am, you truly are, and I mean this as the highest compliment, you are the one. You
I
are the
appreciate
one.
that.
It's amazing to me how strong you are. You're an old soul, and I don't mean that negatively. I mean, you're very mature. You're very well thought out. You knew. How amazing is it, bro? How amazing is it going, I'm in the hospital going, I need to go therapy.
I got to get my mind right before I get my body right.
You blow me away how awesome that is. And that's something that we work hard to now as we go and we meet with these recruits at the academy to talk about that and prepare that. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, I'm
I
phenomenally
know I'm
impressed.
young, but I've seen so many that struggle mentally.
Sure.
And I've been through depression. Whenever I was a kid, I was getting bullied. I was chunky. I struggled. I didn't have self-confidence. Like, even to this day, people are like, oh, she was weird in school. Yeah, I was weird. And it's okay that I was weird.
Look at me
I'm
now.
awesome now.
Yeah, there you go. That's
You
right.
bet you are.
Right.
You
But-
bet you are.
I mean, I done lost my train of thought.
That's, ma'am, you're doing
Oh,
amazing.
you're awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you're
sound
awesome.
Important
and
one,
I-
Yeah, you're
Okay,
awesome.
So, I fought that battle, and I've seen so many lose to it. And I realized that I gotta love myself. If you don't find self-love and you're seeking others' love, it's gonna be a struggle to make it.
Wow.
And I explain that, like, I tell people that, but I don't know if it actually hits. If you love yourself,
Yeah.
you're going to find happiness. You're going to find strength. You're going to find encouragement. You're going to find a way to push to the future. If you see happiness in your future, if you see growth in your future, if you see prosperity in your future, you fight for it, you'll get there. If you don't, you're going to be stuck.
Wow.
And if you stay stuck, you're going to deal with addictions. You're going to deal with depression. You're going to deal with pain. You're going to deal with sorrow. All the negatives.
Yeah.
It's going to weigh you down.
So your glass is always half full, isn't it?
No, it's like 3/4 full.
Yeah, I was gonna say a true
She took a
optimist.
sip.
A true optimist sitting on the table of the couch right now. I love that. So, all right. So, accident, rehab,
I love
light
you, Laura.
duty. How long on light duty? 8 months. Is that what you said?
A light duty, yes,
8
8
months.
months. It was
And
a
so
9-month
when
process.
when you got released, how did it feel? What were you?
Nerve-wracking.
I was gonna say, what were your feelings?
Nerve-wracking. I was excited to be back in the patrol unit, but at the same time, it was nerve-wracking. I'm like, how is this? What am I walking into? How's the night
Did you
going to
ride
be?
with an
Are they
officer
going to, like,
before, or you just they put you right back out?
they put me right back out.
Okay.
And
Night
it was
shift or
fine.
day shift?
That was
Night
great.
shift.
So
Wow, back to
tell
it.
us about the
Yes.
first time you're driving down the highway and you see those headlights. You mentioned that earlier.
I started doing that process while I was still on light duty.
Yeah.
I started driving to the days, and I knew that because my trauma was night shift or nighttime, that headlights that I was going to have to make myself experience it. What is that? Where you put yourself back in that position and when you have a fear, you like
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
overstimulate
Overcome it,
with
yeah.
that
Yeah.
fear. Like people that are afraid of snakes just go be around snakes, and at some point you'll eventually. That's that.
No, I'm never
that-
getting there with snakes. No.
That's that.
No, we'll chase bullets.
Once you
Maybe a
become
burning building. No
knowledgeable-
snakes. No snakes. Sorry.
Once you become knowledgeable of the
In close
ones, I think that
places
at some
and
point
snakes.
you can overcome that fear. That's what I did. I knew that the lights were going to be a trigger because that's what I do remember seeing,
Yeah.
them lights coming straight at me.
Sure.
I knew impact was going to come right after that, so I just had to get out there and experience it.
But once
I
again,
had to
back
go
to
drive.
that mentality
be in
of,
it.
I know I have a fear. I've got to push myself to deal with this fear. Man, I mean, I applaud.
My
Applaud.
saying is bravery is not the lack of fear, it's facing your fear.
Like that.
Because
A T-shirt.
Yeah,
That's a
definitely.
T-shirt.
I think I've read it somewhere or saw it somewhere, but it's so
You get credit.
It's a huge impact because if you think about that, I'm not fearless. I get scared. Every officer gets scared.
Yeah.
We're still humans.
Yeah, we all do, or we all should.
Humans
We all should
get
anyway.
scared,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to be afraid. What's not okay is to let that fear weigh you down.
So as you get back to full duty, you're back on night shift, you're out patrolling. How long did it take you to get back to a somewhat,
Comfortable.
yeah, I guess that's a word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. Are you still struggling with that? Is that something that, hey, how long was it? Was it a week? Was it a month? Is it still to this day you're struggling with it?
I'm not sure how long it really took. It really felt like I was going back to normal
Okay.
quickly because I done took those mental steps. I done took the physical steps. I done been back on light duty, so I was listening to the radios. I was already getting that
preparing yourself.
itch to go to the action again. So it really felt comfortable going back. My shift made it comfortable to be back. I had to crack up at them. They kind of made me laugh. Every call I went to, I had like 2 or 3 backing me
Sure.
up instead of just the
Yeah.
one. And I'm just
Right.
like, y'all, I got this. Go. I'm okay. I'll be fine. But they also went through trauma too.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
They almost lost a fellow officer, so
Yep.
they went through that. Some of them seen it. Some of them saw how bad my injuries were and how much pain I was in. So they also had trauma to go through. So I understand it from their point of view too.
And we forget about that a lot of times. Think about
Overlook it.
Sergeant Washington, right?
Yes.
So think about her trauma being in that car with
Yes.
you. And
I can't
sometimes
tell
we-
you how many times I've hugged her.
Yeah, exactly.
Said thank you. Made sure she was okay. She'd be like, hey, are you okay? Yeah. Are
Are
you okay?
Yeah.
How was your first call for an accident when you showed up on scene? How did you process that? I mean, that first back, I am the responding officer. Did you just go back to work and start working it?
I haven't had any major thoughts about the lighter accidents.
Yeah.
Since I've been back, I did finally work my first fatality.
Okay.
On scene, I did have that thought that could have been me.
Sure.
That could have been my family being called. That could have been
Yeah.
my son having to deal with losing his mom. Chaplain came up to me afterwards and he was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, good.
At the
And
scene.
I said, "Yes,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I am okay. I handled the call. I didn't have any actual triggers per se. I didn't break down. I didn't get scared in that moment. I did what I needed to do. I handled the call like a cop should handle the call. But I allowed myself to think of that.
That's good.
That could have been me. And I really hated it for his family.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that's important, allowing yourself to do that in those situations? For those that will face some sort of critical incident, did it help you being able to do that, you think?
I think it's very vital to feel your feelings. Be aware of your feelings because when you bottle them up, at some point they're going to explode.
Yep.
And you don't want them exploding in the wrong moment at the wrong time. So if you actually let it seep out just a little
Yeah.
bit, control it, and it won't ever explode.
That's good.
So being mentally aware of your emotions and being in control of them is so important.
We heard a statistic recently that we've started sharing is that a normal person, a citizen, regular citizen, in their lifetime is going to encounter around 6 to 10 major traumatic incidents,
Yes,
something like you
I've heard
encountered.
that.
But the normal police officer throughout their career is going to experience anywhere from 600 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And that's just
I
an
read that too.
average. So being able to, like you said, letting that steam off, having somebody to talk to, whether that's a peer, a counselor, a chaplain, those things are critically important because we need to be, if we're going to be, we talk about being physically fit, but if we're not mentally, emotionally, relationally, spiritually fit, it's gonna have a negative impact. It's just going to.
Yes.
And I really admire and respect the fact that you recognize that. That's amazing.
Well, hopefully I encourage others to.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
bet.
say. why-
Hopefully somebody's listening, be like, yeah.
So
that's
if we
right.
were if you were going to give words of wisdom or encouragement to those that have either faced these type of critical incidents, may face them in the future, I mean, just what kind of advice would you give our fellow officers across the state?
So many. You gotta want it. Go for it. Like I said, bravery is not the lack of fear, it's facing your fear. Keep pushing. Feel your feelings. Feel them. Control them. Express them. Fight for it. But know it's okay to not be okay.
That's good.
It is okay to not be okay. And it
Wow.
I know that mentality that I don't want others to know what I'm going through. I don't want others to see me. I don't want others to know what I'm feeling. But you got to have support.
Yeah.
Reach out. Talk to others. It may be hard, but do it. Because there's been many times where I've kept something to myself and I finally talked about it. Oh, it was such a relief. It is so nice to be heard.
That
And to be
warrior
seen
mindset,
and to
maybe
be
the
heard.
battles with ourselves
Yeah.
as often as it is with someone else out on the street.
I agree.
is.
You know, and so being able to work that side of the problem is just as important. And what an amazing story,
Yeah.
and what grit and determination
Sure.
you've shown.
Inspiring to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
years of wisdom, like
Oh,
5
my
years
gosh.
on the job, and just decades of wisdom coming out of your mouth.
It's encouraging to me to know
Yeah.
that the next generation of law enforcement or folks like you that are
Yeah.
coming up and our citizens are going to be well served.
Yeah.
Officers like yourself.
Well,
It's
thank you for sharing
Thank
your
y'all.
story with us today. It's amazing, and what an honor for us to be able to sit here and talk about that today. But so again, Jonathan's over there waving at me, saying, "Hey, make sure you say the things."
Say the things.
Say the thing.
Subscribe and like the 10-8 podcast. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify and the Kless website. Oh, playing with my mic. So from Jason, Kelvin, Chris, and Chris, we want to thank the governor for allowing us to serve in these positions of leadership across the state of Arkansas. Thank you for being here today. What an awesome time we've had. Colonel Hager for his leadership with the Department of Public Safety, and of course our Attorney General for allowing us to build out the studio and be able to produce these. Everybody behind the scenes, Jonathan Nettle, Barbara, and Laura, we appreciate everybody for doing what they do to make this happen. So looking forward to our next episode, and thank you for being here.